My suggestion would be get your friend and my friend John Rich, great musician, to lead it off and have all these folks come in. There's plenty of acts in Nashville, people that are trying to get on a big stage. Then, of course, have Kid Rock. And then the finale would be cool to have Lee Greenwood come out and sing. He's got a bunch of great songs, but of course, the ending would be God Bless the USA.
That is Republican Congressman Tim Burchett with his suggestions for the Great American State Fair after we were just discussing several musicians dropped out after saying they were misled about the partisanship. Representative Burchett joins us live now for that and much more. Congressman, always good to see you. Appreciate having you on. What do you make of these musicians dropping out one after the other? And now President Trump is saying, cancel the music altogether, make this a MAGA rally.
Really care, ma'am. I'll be here in East Tennessee if it's anywhere near around the 4th of July. But the truth is that these entertainers are just a bunch of spoiled brats. They're overpaid, and that those 5 that they showed, I haven't seen them on the road anywhere. The Commodores, of course, they don't have their Lionel Richie. I doubt will be the lead singer. Bret Michaels, he had this very awful show on MTV. He was one of his bouncers or his roadies would hook him up with some girl, and I don't know about young MC, but Morris Day and the Time. I mean, they're back when I was in college. They were big, and I'm 61 years old. And Martina McBride, I'm disappointed, but her statement was clearly written by her PR firm out of Hollywood or New York or Los Angeles or something. So I just. Entertainers are generally overpaid and spoiled brats. That's why I say get Kid Rock out there, get my buddy John Rich to help put it on. I'm sure he could find some great entertainment, and he's a great singer, songwriter himself. And you could have Ted Nugent. There's some real pro-American entertainers out there that would love that. Kid Rock, he knows the president. I've been with Kid Rock when he's called the president, and they're pretty close. And, of course, Lee Greenwood finishing up singing God Bless the USA. There's nothing better. Nothing better.
All right.
I know these people personally, and I think they would do a great job.
Okay, I appreciate that. With the time we have, I do want to pivot to the war in Iran, of course. The president is weighing the ceasefire extension on the table. He's been doing that for a few days now. If a U.S. ground conflict is ultimately needed to achieve all of the president's objectives, would you support it?
At this point, no, ma'am, I would not. I think the only time we need anybody on the ground there would be to dig up that the nuclear material that they have that is capable of making a bomb. I don't think we're going to need to do that. I think we do need to get the Strait open and to give the oil companies something else to gouge us on next time, which is clearly a gouge. We get zero oil from Iran, yet they've managed to jack up the prices on everyone, diesel especially, and diesel's the cheapest one to make. So it's a complete racket, and Washington, D.C. is in on it, both parties.
Well, let me ask about that. I mean, because this week, the Treasury Secretary said that the economic disruptions caused by the war with Iran will fade rapidly, he said, once peace is at hand. He was really downplaying this fallout as short-term. What is your sense of the American appetite for this conflict and the pinch that Americans are feeling as we are inching towards the midterms?
I think America's moved on and even talking about it. I always say we want our pizzas in 30 minutes or less, and that's about our dadgum attention span, and I'm guilty of that as well. And I think as soon as they'll have no excuse. Of course, oil goes up like a rocket and comes down like a parachute. So they'll gouge us a little more, but we'll get back to business. And I think the economy will turn on that. It will turn on a dime. And I think you'll see employment, things like that go up. And I also think that you'll see prices come down because there will be no excuse for it anymore.
I want to ask you about one more topic. The Pentagon last week releasing its second large batch of UFO and UAP-related files. We saw videos, we have pictures, we have some documents. People are calling for not just the grainy, redacted video. They want the high-quality video. They want the usable data. Are we really seeing everything that we need to?
No, ma'am, we're not. And the problem you have, and I have this straight from the White House, is that the people in these alphabet agencies are blocking the president of the United States. I've said this many times.
But why are they doing that?
As power is control, I think there could be some economic incentives to it. They're going to take this high road and say it's going to disrupt religion and all this other stuff. I just don't buy that as a Christian. That doesn't affect me one bit. I just think they need to disclose everything and quit telling us they don't exist when they're spending tens of millions of dollars on programs that obviously studying them. We have some of the best pilots in the world who claim they do exist in sworn testimony, and they seem to just kind of brush that aside. So, yeah, there's a lot of arrogance in government, and there's a lot of, the Bible says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And I think that's what you're seeing, some really foolish behavior by some very arrogant people. And of course, you got the war pimps too. Imagine if you had an energy source that was that we could heat our homes in the winter and cool them in the summer. We would not be in all these wars for oil. We wouldn't be overseas. We could mind our own dadgum business. And there's a lot of things behind it, I think, if you dig down deep enough. But ultimately, this President Trump, has kept his word. He said he was going to do it. I talked to him on the phone, and he said, "Yeah, dadgummit, we're going to get him out. I don't have any problem with that."
I mean, a lot of people aren't satisfied with what we're seeing just yet. I know you've been in so many rooms, you've been in so many classified briefings. You've said that you have seen UFO videos that defy any reason. Is what you've seen, clearly, does it clearly exceed American, Russian, or Chinese technology?
100%, ma'am. If it was the Russians, Putin's an egomaniac. He wouldn't be locked down in Ukraine. He would fly one to Pennsylvania Avenue and get out and wrestle the president, probably in another MMA fight or something. China had it. They would control us, control the world even more so than they do now, with the greedy politicians and lobbyists. And if we had it, we would not be putting our men in harm's way, men and women who fly in harm's way, that come so close to these aircraft, that see them out there. They have the capabilities of hovering over the ocean for hours at a time, and then can just shoot straight up at incredible rates of speed, things that we couldn't comprehend or be able to handle as human beings. So, yeah, there's something else that's going on, and they need to just let us decide if we can handle it or not, ma'am.
All right, Congressman Tim Burchett, always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.